finding them housing in TCHC units. So it,
Yes, John, I totally and I understand the topic is how well or how improvements we need to do with this program. I have seen a lot of young residents out of the street coming in the building, but it seems that the service agency, they're supposed to be supporting them for 12 months, is my understanding. Sometimes the relationships break down. So they need wraparound support. If you're gonna bring an outsider into the building, please ensure that they don't fall to the cracks. We want to have successful tenancies, a positive tenant experience, good quality homes. But right now what we're having is sort of a vibrant community, but at nighttime, between 11 and 7 a.m., the old people are affected by noises. So how we deal with this problem? I can't transfer. I'm proposing some proofing of the unit, or I don't know, be selective who you bring in, not so that the old residents don't get affected by all other people's behaviors, and they turn it into social behavior, and some of them, they lose their tenancy because they turn their homes into drug dens, to be honest. I've seen it. So good luck. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Any questions of the deputy? No. Questions? My screen's gone. Oh, there we go. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Nadia. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ziva has a question. Do you have a question of the deputant or of staff?
Oh, of staff.
Okay, all right. We'll have you do your question first, okay? Go ahead, Ziva.
I'm just curious to know what exactly is the wait list for people who want to get housing in TCHC?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and through the chair, the current wait list from the centralized waiting list for rent geared to income housing is approximately 103,000 households. That represents the wait list for all residents seeking rent geared to income housing, and TCHC represents approximately 2/3, along with TSHC, of the total units of available rent geared to income housing.
And if you were a person that was not in TCHC, but you are looking for rent to gear housing, and you went through the proper channels of submitting an application, how long is that time frame?
Thanks for the question. The time frame can vary depending on whether a household has priority or not, but typically we advise households that the average wait time for a unit is between 8 to 10 years.
Okay. Can I just say a comment?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think some of the challenges with this is that housing units are very much in demand, from people who want to get housing to people who want to transfer from one housing to the next. I mean, we have very much limited supplies of units. With that said, having this rapid rehousing initiative, I think that for me, I really want to make sure that we prioritize tenants that are currently living in TCHC, and making sure that they feel comfortable prior to bringing in other folks in Toronto community housing. And then given the long wait list for individuals who are really much need for housing as well, it's I'm just trying to see how that would be a little bit fair when people have been waiting for quite some time just to get housed and shelter with TCHC.
Okay, thank you. Marcel?
Yes. Thank you. When it comes to the rapid rehousing program, like I do believe everyone has the opportunity and should have the opportunity to have a roof over their head and food in their bellies and clothes on their back and a decent source of income. I hope I don't butcher this, but what I'm trying to say is, if people are coming in under the rapid rehousing program, I worry that some of the supports that they're supposedly have, maybe not really like the agencies or whatever that are following through with these supports. I'm not sure if they're really following through with the supports and stuff. And I worry that the resources that TCHC has and the manpower, which is really good because I've done some day visits to like different sites. The supports that TCHC has are really good, but they're limited. And I worry that if there's too much, that resource is going to get thinned even more. And then that causes more problems and it causes more disruption for other tenants, right? And I'm not trying to put a bad picture for the rapid rehousing program because I believe that everyone has that right. But I just worry about, like the supports that are supposed to be there, are they there? Because I don't think it's in our best interest or in the community's best interest to have our resources stretched even further than what they are, because they've been doing phenomenal work with what we have. But that can only go so far if it keeps getting stretched. And I think that's it. I hope I didn't butcher this. Thank you.
Did you want to follow up with a question of staff, or we just wanted to make that comment?
I just wanted to make that comment as a tenant, right? And also as a tenant director, like the community always speaks about feeling safe and having a safe place to live. And I do know, and I see firsthand TCHC is doing wonderful things and meaningful things for the community. I just worry that if we're bringing in, like we're the housing, like the housing place, then there needs to be supports coming in for us instead of us always overutilizing everything we have, because that does run thin, right? It's just a comment.
Okay, thank you. And Uba.
Through the chair, can I just comment on Director Charlebois' comments?
Okay.
So Director Charlebois, we've actually made some adjustments to the Rapid Rehousing Program in 2025, and the report outlines some of the improvements we've made to the program. So working closely with the Housing Secretariat and Toronto Shelter and Support Services, we've actually amended the program. We've lowered the number of rapid rehousing tenancies we'll be taking in. We've also added additional staff specifically to support rapid rehousing tenancies. And we've also looked at diversifying the buildings that individuals are moving into, so there isn't a concentration of tenancies. So we absolutely appreciate the comments, but I think we're moving in the right direction, and I think we have wonderful partners in the city working with us to ensure the program is successful. The hope for all of us is that we could transition individuals into successful tenancies, and so that's the focus in 2025. But noted, thank you.
Uba?
Thanks, John. I'm glad this initiative, it's happening because it's helping a lot of tenants, a lot of homeless people. And my quick question is the rehab, these homes, are they only bachelors, or they have bigger units like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom? And the other thing is, one of the restrictions that I noticed about this initiative is the referrals are done only through the City of Toronto, through the shelter. So is there a way the referrals can go through internally within TCHC? I think that might expedite things. So that's my question. But all in all, it's a great initiative.
So through the chair, I'll start, and Lindsay, if you want to add on, or anybody from the city. So it does range in the size of units. We do see bachelor 1 and 2 bedrooms. I don't think we've had many larger families, but we are exploring that to see if it's an opportunity to support them through this program. With respect to the placement and the individuals, I don't know if Mr. Tanner or Trish from Toronto Shelter would like to speak to that, how we identify individuals who would be placed in the program.
So to be eligible for housing through the Rapid Rehousing Program, folks must be experiencing homelessness and on the by name list for the City of Toronto, so staying in shelter or working with a street outreach provider. You also have to be experiencing chronic homelessness and have an active centralized waitlist application on the largest centralized waitlist and have low support needs. So that was another program enhancement that happened this year to move to low support needs for housing.
And if I can just add, Doug Rollins from the Housing Secretariat, to Nadia's earlier point, we have reduced the overall volume of rapid rehousing, and we are exploring options with TCHC to redeploy some of that excess support worker capacity in consultation with Nadia and the team. So we may be able to bring some in situ supports in for people who aren't supported in the building and may need those supports. So that would be, to the director's comment, one way we can work with TCHC to identify options to provide further support for tenants who require it.
John, if I may, what have we reduced the numbers to?
Overall, the target last year was 350 households, and due to the great work of TCHC to reduce their vacancy loss, there's fewer units available. So we're likewise going to reduce the volume of rapid rehousing from 350 to 175 as a target for the 2025 year.
Well, significant reduction, but I think that will be helpful with the addition of extra staff as well for supports. Can you give us a sense of where in our portfolio most of the rapid housing are located?
So through the chair, historically, many of the tenancies were located in our higher needs high-rise buildings. That's where we had the highest vacancy rates. And so during COVID, we used that as an opportunity to address our vacancy rates. But the thinking at the time was we also had place-based services in those locations. Yeah. So it was an opportunity to actually concentrate individuals so they could get services. What we have found through the assessment is that that model and that approach might have had potentially a challenging impact on the communities. So we see that our higher needs communities had even more acute vulnerabilities over the last 2 to 3 years, in part due to the concentration of the tenancies, but also in part due to lots of variables in the community, not specific to rapid rehousing. And so the new model is to actually connect individuals to other communities so that they could live around individuals who may not be experiencing the same things they are.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, so I have any other questions from directors? No? So I have a question. So you mentioned the criteria under which people are selected. Could you just run that by me again? They've had chronic homelessness, and yet you make an assessment that they will not need a high level of supports?
So when folks come up on the by name list, their case manager, either in the shelter system or their street outreach worker, would assess their current level of support at point of offer of housing using a tool we call the STARS support assessment tool, which basically assesses folks across a variety of very standard factors like finances, education, health, safety supports to ensure that they have a low level of support going into housing at point of offer of housing.
Okay. And so why, I guess, Nadia, maybe this over to you, why are only 54% of these, I think it was 54% of these tenancies successful?
So through the chair, I was trying to correct the record at the beginning of this, so I will read the formal stat. There's an error in the report.
Oh, okay.
So I would like to formally correct an error at the bottom of page 3 of the report, page 106 of your packages. The final sentence should read, by this metric, 5% of rapid rehousing tenancies have been unsuccessful.
Have been unsuccessful?
Correct.
Oh.
So that means 95% we're continuing to work with in transition. Yes, it's a significant error. So we will be working with governance to actually correct the sentence.
It's a good news story then, I guess.
It is. I think it's a positive thing. And I think the fact that the city is working with us to evolve the program and to better meet the needs that we're able to support, I think is an excellent thing.
Okay. And then if you could just, sorry, over here, and I don't know all of you folks, but you mentioned that the number was coming down from 350 to 175, and why is that?
Thanks for the question. Doug Rollins, Interim Executive Director of the Housing Secretariat. For a couple reasons. Number one, I think I also identify too an additional piece that Gord from TSSS, Sean, myself, and senior leaders are going to meet on a quarterly basis to provide some steering and oversight to the broad approach of the program. There's been a lot of concerns related to the program. There's also been a significant shift in the vacancy rate of TCHC, so there's fewer units available to rent. And we wanted to make sure, to the point earlier, that this was a modest allocation from the TCHC portfolio. So the vacancy rate is basically half of what it was when we started the program. So we're adjusting the rapid rehousing allocation to align with that. Also to get a better handle on some of the improvements we're making in year to determine how best we can continue to evolve the program to ensure it remains successful and to manage the integration of people who are very much in need into permanent homes where they can have stable, productive, effective lives.
Right, and in deciding and setting the criteria for who would be suitable for TCHC accommodations or residency, does where they come from come into play? Like if they're from Toronto, is that, you know, a plus factor, or does it make any difference? If they're from Ottawa or Kingston, it doesn't make any difference?
We don't differentiate place of origin. I think that's an actually very difficult question to answer. Where are you from? Well, I've lived in 4 different cities, right? So they're here, they're in our shelter system. We got to get them housed.
Got it. Okay.
And we utilize the coordinated access approach with their input to identify what communities of choice they may wish to live, where their support and communities represented. So all those factors go into the great work of our colleagues at TSSS to manage the by name list and find appropriate homes that allow people to get a foot up in a sound footing and have housing to allow them to prosper and be effective members of society.
That's great. Well, thank you for coming today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And John, one more question.
Yep.
Just following up the one you just asked. Do we identify particular groups of people who will be prioritized? So, for example, would we prioritize families as part of the rapid housing over single people, or are we prioritizing single people over families?
Maybe I'll start and ask my colleagues to append. So the vast majority of vacancies at the beginning of the program, as well as the individuals in the shelter system, were single. That was the prioritization. One of the efforts we're making to evolve the program this year is to identify a number of units that are more for families. So that would be 2s and 3 bedroom units where available. Those, as you're probably aware, aren't very prevalent in the system. So we will be evolving that. And as we report back through NADI in our operations report, I think later in the year you'll get a better sense of the proportion of 1-bedroom bachelor and other larger unit sizes.
That's great.
Yeah. Do we pay attention to immigration status for this program?
So as mentioned earlier, individuals who participate in the program have to be eligible to be on the centralized waiting list. So they do require status in Canada.
Thank you.
Uba has a question.
If some of the tenants who are placed in this through this initiative, if they have, let's say, mental health or severe mental health challenge, do we still place them with support from different agencies, or do we altogether look for a supportive housing?
So I think so this is a very broad question, and everybody's health experience is different, and the way they are able to cope and manage with that health condition is different. But what I will say is traditionally the program has targeted low to moderate support needs. We are looking to prioritize even further lower support needs. So I would not imagine someone with significant mental health challenges would qualify through the assessment program, and the more apt place to place them would be in high support buildings with wraparound 24/7 supports. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions on that item. Okay, we'll move to the...
Sorry,
Yep.
just before we move to that item and we lose our friends from the city, apparently there's been a phone found in the men's washroom. If somebody's lost a phone in the men's washroom, it's at the front desk.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the